Walsh. Hey everybody, so we're back talking about divorce today. And guys, I did a podcast on this only a few days ago. And, you know, I think it's important to to talk about this more. There's been a good response from this episode, very good response. And obviously there's people out there that are children of divorce that are following me. There's people out there that are thinking about getting a divorce, are in the process of one, are just coming out of one, and you're all messed up on the head. Today we're going to go delve a little deeper though. Today I want to talk about, what if my parents actually stayed together? How would I feel about that? And what was going through my mind when all, you know, the tension in the family was building, you know, because obviously there wasn't nuclear war, thank God. And by the way, just to let, as we continue, guys, we're going to try and get some live feedback here on TikTok today, guys. So if anybody's watching today, welcome and thanks for watching. So interested to hear anybody's opinions on divorce. If you are going through one, let us know. If you're a kid of divorce, if you are going through one right now in the process, let us know. Jump in as well anytime. We're going to go through some stats as well on divorce. So I want to start off by saying I was 15 or 16. I can't remember the exact age, but look, that doesn't matter. It's 15 or 16. And for me, I'd say it took about probably a year really of, you know, bad fights. Nothing nuclear, thank God. I was a lucky one. And my brother and sisters are lucky too. And yeah, there was tension. Of course there was. There was a lot of tension every now and then. And for the kids in the family, it's fucking hard to see your parents like this. You know, it's fucking hard. And even I even vividly remember saying, Jesus, they should break up. I even remember at that age, I was like, fuck this is too much, man. You know? Now, like I said, it wasn't nuclear in the house, but you know, just the tension of it was just enough, you know. And then you come down to the kitchen and they're in there and you're like, oh God, are they gonna fight again? And oh God, and then you're sort of tippy-toeing into the kitchen getting the morning breakfast, and you're sort of looking in the back of your eyes. Oh, are they about to start? Are they giving each other the evil eye? What's about to happen? And then you just want to get the fuck out of the kitchen and you want to go into the TV room. The moment then you close the TV room door, you're like, oh, thank God I'm out of there. But it's like you can't avoid it as a kid, you know? And like, if my parents stayed together and if they really tried to work on it, right, that would have been a nightmare for them. And it would have been a nightmare for me and my brother and sisters, because there's obviously something wrong that it hasn't been resolved. Can things get resolved? Yeah, I guess. Now, if it's cheating, which it wasn't, by the way, there was no cheating in my family, all right? I just want to clarify that. But I mean, let's say if it was cheating, can you recover from that? Probably not. Will you ever recover from that? Will you ever forget that your husband or wife cheated on you? Probably not. Again, I'm not in that situation. I couldn't tell you exactly if you can or not. But, Jesus, that must be almost impossible. Physical violence, I mean, that's never going to go away. Now, there wasn't in my family either, thank God. Okay, I just want to clarify that up. And physical violence would be a rough one, a very rough one to come back from, right? I mean, if the husband is, let's say, beating the crap out of the woman, is he really going to stop? Has he learned his lesson? He hasn't as fuck. He's going to do it again. He might take a 6-month period where he hasn't done it, right? Where his normal is 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but then he hasn't done it for 6 months. Yeah. Give him about a little bit more time and he'll be back on it before you know it. And he'll be smacking the wife around instantly. All right? So it's not good. It's not good. And so we're just going to check on the TikTok messages as well, guys. So I'll keep an eye on those. And Somebody's saying, is the government going to build Metrolink or are we going to be left with the Lewis? Yeah, we're not talking about... sorry, man, we're not talking about that at the moment here. We're talking about divorce. Interesting, though. Keep the comments coming. But that wasn't going to work. And, you know, I get it too. I've had problems in relationships. Now, imagine this. I wasn't married where I was having major problems and then I had to go through a divorce with kids. So it was much easier for me, even in my relationships. And yet, even though I did every now and then put my head under the in the sand and this isn't gonna work, you know, we'll be fine, you know, no, everything's gonna be hunky-dory. No, it wasn't. I just stuck my head in the sand until one little incident popped off and you're back to fucking square one again. You know, it reminds you of what the girl did or what a guy did, and how can you forget it? You have to resolve the fucking problem. Can divorces actually resolve their problems? I think absolutely yes. And, you know, guys, coming from a kid who's been divorced, or a kid who has gone through parents who've been divorced, if anything, I'd probably be going the other way around, right? I'd be saying, no, man, that's it. It's over. It's done. But I'm not. I think there's a lot of positives that come out of divorce, especially for a kid. A lot of positives. And... it's just one of those things that you gotta get to the root of the problem. If you don't, you're gone. You're done. It's history. Like, can you imagine? I could never imagine now my parents still staying together and knowing that they don't get on and then they're sleeping in separate bedrooms, because let's be honest, you probably will end up sleeping in separate bedrooms. Right? Why would you want to sleep in the same bed as your husband or wife that you absolutely hate or you don't like or detest? Makes sense. Of course it fucking does. So that would bring tension to the atmosphere already. In fact, at this stage, if I'm 16, I'm looking at moving out. Now, for me, in a way, I wouldn't say I was lucky, but there was a good part for me where I was racing cars abroad, so I was actually living away from home for quite a bit. So I could get away from it and let them either resolve it or not resolve it. But no, even if I was 16 staying at home, it would definitely encourage me more to get out of the house, get my own place instantly. Now, would I have done it? I don't know, because I'm not in that situation, but it certainly would have been on my mind. A lot of tension, guys. A lot of tension. And I mean, even if we look at the divorce stats here, right? And I'm just going to bring it up here now. And this is actually for the divorce stats for 2024. And let's have a look at quickly at TikTok. Why won't RT report in the protests? So the key divorce stats in 2024. So they're saying here. Now this is based on the US. Now look, I know the US... They almost love divorce. It's almost part of the package. Get married and then get divorced. But by the way, I'm not having a go with any Americans here, but the rep that Americans have with divorces can be pretty horrendous, even though Europe is catching up bloody fucking quick. And I think the Americans are dead right. If you don't get on with a person, get out of the place. Get out of there. It didn't work. Don't hold on to Fantasyland. So they're saying here, in America, a total of 689,000 divorces occurred across the 45 states that reported this stat. Jesus Christ. During that same year, 1.9 million marriages occurred, making the US marriage rate 6 per 1,000 people. Well, I wouldn't worry about that kind of stat there now. And they're saying far more people get married over the course of each year than get divorced. These divorce stats show what happens to marriages that end and when and how couples decide to end them. There's an interesting stat, I think, there, because if there was lesser marriages in a year, those divorce rates stats would be completely different, obviously, right? So the stats are going in the favor of marriages here because there's more people getting married every year than a divorce. So they're saying, how many marriages end in divorce? Okay, now they're saying, so what about the famous stat that half of all marriages end in divorce? That's true, but only when it comes to first marriages, half are which dissolved. Second and third marriages actually fail at a far higher rate. Interesting. I didn't know that now, I have to say, guys. I'm learning something. So when do couples divorce? When marriages end, usually some time has passed since the wedding. In fact, the average length of a marriage prior to divorce is 8 years. 8 years. Wow, I suppose you could have a couple of kids in that one, right? Like, 8 years. It's definitely enough time to have the honeymoon period, let it settle down, the dust settle after the honeymoon period, get settled with each other, get used to married life, have a couple of kids. Oh, let's see now. Let's keep going with this. I'm interested to know. How long does divorce take and how much does it cost? Oh, Jesus. Divorce takes time. Contested divorces usually take over a year to finalize. Yeah, I think that was the same with my parents. It did take quite a bit of time here. Although simple divorces can be completed in as little as 3 months. Wow. Divorce comes at a big cost, with couples spending an average of $7,000 to dissolve their union. Jesus. I guess that's probably just the fees to just file the paperwork, I presume. Not to mention then, that, that's when the lawyer kicks in, I guess, and the solicitor. Where do you draw the line? Does the woman get 50? Does the man get 50? Does she get 40? Does she get 70? I don't know. Hard to know. What happens after divorce? Many who divorce don't give up on the institution of marriage, though. Good, that's good to hear. A total of 64% of men and 52% of women get married again after their marriage is ended. Fuck me. I would have thought it would have been the other way around. And by the way, I'm not having a go off women here. Because I know men, and I've spoken to men who are divorced, are going through one. And most of them I've talked to are allergic to getting married again. Wow. The stats are more in favor of a man getting married again after a woman. 64%. Can you believe that, people on TikTok? If anybody watching here, 64% of men and 52% of women. Wow. I definitely want somebody to jump in here, guys, on TikTok if you're listening. So here we go. Crude divorce rate versus refined divorce rate. When considering the divorce rate, it is helpful to understand there are two different measures used. The crude divorce rate refers to how many divorces occur 1,000 people. The refined divorce rate refers to how many divorces occur per 1,000 married women. Oh, why is it women on that one? Why not the man or both? The refined divorce rate is often believed to be more accurate. When measuring on a per population basis, changes in marriage trends could affect the data on rates of divorce. Wow. Third marriages have the highest divorce rate, 73%. I hope Ross from Friends isn't watching this. Wasn't he married 3 times? Or divorced 3 times, should I say? No, he married, what's the woman, the lesbian lover? Carol. He married Carol, then he married Emily, and then he married Rachel, right? Wasn't it? Poor bastard. 73% of third marriages are dissolved. That's interesting, I think, the psychology of that. I mean, if I got divorced now, and Jesus, if I got divorced and was happily married for a couple of years, would I want to go there again? Probably not. For me, I have to say. Again, I'm not in that situation, so I can't 100% say certainty, of course, but even the thought alone makes me think, I don't know, man. I don't know. Depending on your age as well, of course. Now, then again, I would consider it because I'm a child of divorce, and I know that there's a lot of advantages coming out of divorce as a divorced kid. And, okay, let's have a look. Only 6% of divorced couples remarry each other. Wow. 6%? Well, I mean, Jesus, when you think about that, you can't even resolve your issues. Only 6% of people resolve their issues. Well, maybe it is kind of like the dating scene that I'm doing right now, guys, where 80% of the problems, I'm always saying this, 80% of the problems I see in relationships right now, people emailing, contacting me, is based on communication. People are not whatsoever opening up and saying, hey, listen, Peter, what did you mean when you said ABC? Because I took it as XYZ. Do you know? People are just jumping straight to the buzzer. Oh, fuck you, Peter. Fuck you, John. Fuck you, whatever, whoever, right? You bastards, you fucking... Da, 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 da. And people are... You're like, whoa. I see this so much, guys, on my dating channels at the moment. It's unbelievable. The amount of assumptions we make. Right? We have to talk to people, listen to people. Don't you think it would be easier on your own life to actually just sit down with a person and communicate? Even if you get a shitty fucking response. You know? If you get a shitty fucking response. You fucking tried. And this whole thing of, oh, well, I'm a woman, I'm never wrong. Or I'm a man, I'm never wrong. You're full of shit if you think that. And I'm sorry, guys, if you're listening here and you think, oh, yeah, well, I'll never admit I'm wrong. Really? The level of goddamn fucking ego on some people, you can't admit when you're wrong. You'll just put your tail between your legs and walk off and let the other person just sit there, and they're going to get bitter with you anyway. And, you know, I'll say this, ladies, and I'm speaking for most men here. Like, now, keyword most, because I can't speak for every man. If you are in a relationship with somebody right now, and if you are one of those people that is never wrong. Now, by the way, we'll turn this around as well on as in men being never wrong. I can guarantee you that if you are that stubborn in a relationship, the other person might go off, well, look, you know, he or she is never wrong. They're always like this. They're stubborn. But you know what's creeping up in the back of their fucking head? Resentment. They're going to start to detest you. They won't want to be around you. They will do things, even if they're in a relationship with you, they might never break it off with you or end it, and they'll end up cheating on you. It's very wrong. You should never go there, and there's never ever any excuse. But that's what some people do. They're not going to respect you. They're not going to like you more as a person for doing these type of things. This whole I'm never wrong... Jesus Christ. Like if you are one of these people and you're stubborn like this, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Can you imagine if the other person has never admitted that they're wrong? Can you imagine how frustrated and angry you'd get? How pissed off, resented you'd be with that other person eventually down the road? Because if it's one thing, it's going to be something else that they're wrong about. And guess what? Even if it's a tiny thing at the start that, oh, well, you know, Mary, no, she doesn't admit that she's wrong, but oh, sure, look, that's Mary, or that's Peter. All of a sudden, Peter's going to remember this. Then all of a sudden, something else comes along. Oh, here we go again. Mary or Peter, they're... Jesus. And then all of a sudden, something else comes up, and then something else comes up, and now all of a sudden, what you have is a compound effect. It all starts to add up, and all of a sudden... somebody's starting to get a bit fucking annoyed. Jesus, can I once be right? Can you ever once admit that I'm right and you're wrong? Like, do you ever hear that story? Like, I've heard that story from some people. Like, God, if she only would just admit once in her life that she was wrong, or the guy's wrong. But they're not going to. That's the frustration, and you're holding on to nothing. You're holding on to nothing, waiting for that. The person has to come to the table 50-50 with you. Jesus. Alright, let's go back to the article. I'm kind of getting a bit sidetracked here. Now, this is interesting. The most common reasons for divorce. So, what do we have? And, okay. Couples report many different reasons for ending a marital relationship. However, these are the most common explanations cited by divorcing couples. Lack of commitment is the most common reason for divorce. Okay, I think commitment even in just communicating with somebody. That's a big one. Marriage is not always easy, so success requires both spouses to be dedicated to their union and serious about making it last. That's why it's not surprising that a lack of commitment could spell disaster for a couple. Jesus, I was even saying that. And by the way, guys, I didn't actually set that up before I read that out. Not at all. Hand to God. In fact, 75% of individuals and couples cited lack of commitment as the reason for their divorce. This was the most common cause of a marriage ending, exceeding even infidelity. Whoa. A lack of commitment as the reason for their divorce. Jesus, there you go. Now guys, I can't speak very educatedly even on my parents when they got divorced. I don't know the full ins and outs. All I do know is that thank God that they didn't have nuclear war in the house. They just didn't get on. For the actual reasons, I don't know. And you know what, quite honestly, I don't want to know either. You know, that's their business, you know? And that's understandable. So I can't speak very educatedly on experience that side of things here. And here we go. 60% of divorced couples cited infidelity as a reason for their divorce. Oh, Jesus. Infidelity is another leading cause of divorce, with 60% of couples citing a partner's unfaithfulness as a reason their union ended. When a marriage is supposed to be monogamous and one party fails to fulfill, trust can be lost and the marriage may be broken. Well, that's not rocket science really, is it? And we've got some stats coming up here, guys, as well, the top reasons for divorce. This should be interesting. But before we get there, domestic abuse prompts a divorce in 24% of cases. You see, I think that's quite low, and I think, though, if in reality, that's is a lot larger, simply because the psychology of getting, let's say, when a man physically abuses a woman, the woman starts to believe it's her fault. Now, you could flip it over where a man gets, let's say, I don't know, spiritually abused, verbally abused, you know, whatever I'm getting at here that way. You start to believe it's all your fucking fault. And then you just put up with it and you just take it all the time. So I genuinely believe that 24% is fucking low, guys. Very low. And when a couple ends a marriage for this reason, the divorce process may look different. An uncontested divorce arranged through a mediator may not be the best approach, despite its benefits in ordinary situations, due to the difficulties of an abused victim negotiating a settlement with an abusive partner. Ooh, sounds intense. Okay, here we go, guys. Some stats. And I just have a look at couple of the comments here on TikTok, guys. I'd be in that 60% of infidelity. Wasn't me, by the way. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Siobhan. Obviously it happens. The top reasons for divorce. Lack of commitment comes in at 75%. Now, what is the lack of commitment? I do genuinely believe it's being there for your partner if they're having a real trouble time. You could be having a shit time too, but you're not giving them the effort and attention it needs to help them resolve the problem. Or if you're being a fucking asshole in the marriage, okay, and you're not giving them enough attention, then they have a breakdown. You're not going to be there for them. Again, commitment. Or just cheating. Now, really, cheating doesn't take much effort here. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm wrong on that one. Like, it's not like, oh my God, Peter, you put your dick in her. You took your dick out of your pants, man. What the hell's going on with you? Oh, that was a mistake, man. I'm sorry. Really, jeez. What was wrong with me? I'll promise I won't fall again. I'm done. One mistake and I'm out, alright? Okay? Trust me, alright? Honey, take me back. Seriously, it's never going to happen again. Bullshit. Alright, next one. Infidelity or extramarital affairs. 60%. See, this is another reason why I'm lost here. If its lack of commitment is 75%, how can the next one be 60%? But okay, I'll keep reading this one, guys, anyway, for you. Maybe they're kind of tying in all of them together. The next one, too much conflict and arguing, 58%. Getting married too young, 45%. I mean, I gotta admit, when my parents got married, I think they were in their 20s, because it was very different back then. And funnily enough, when you say back then, you'd swear you're talking 10,000 years ago. We're only talking 50, 60 fucking years ago. Even less. And like, it's amazing the way things have changed now when it comes to marriage and the outlook of certain scenarios. Like, would people get married in their 20s now in 2024? Jesus, no. No. But I remember even watching like documentaries. I'm a huge lover in World War II, fascinated with documentaries. And I mean, I was, looking at the background of how people lived back then and before they went to war. Were they in a relationship? How young were the soldiers when they went to war? I mean, a lot of the soldiers were like 17. Some of them even faked being 17, 18, and they were like 15, 16, but they actually blagged their way in and got in there and they were pretending to be older. So like you had soldiers that were 16 up to, I don't know, whatever, 40, let's say 30s for like the foot soldiers, right? But whatever it is, right? But as young as that. And then some of these guys were getting married before they'd even head off to seas because they wanted that I don't know, maybe security blanket, or they felt like they were in love with that person and they wanted to tie the knot before they go off to war. I mean, and they were getting young as 2021. Jesus. Like for me, looking back on that, you're like, wow, man, that was only a stone throw away. It was only a fucking moment ago in the lifespan of this earth. Like, it's almost fascinating and kind of disturbing too, isn't it? Here we go, the next stat. Financial problems, 37%. Substance abuse, 35%. Domestic violence, 24%. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. Anybody on TikTok here, jump in on that one. 24% domestic violence. Does anybody believe that one? Lack of support from family, 18%. Now, what do they mean by lack of support by family? Is it when you're having a tough time that you're reaching out to your husband or wife and even your kids and nothing's happening? I don't know exactly what they mean by that one. Health problems? 17%? Jesus, health problems. Fucking hell. I mean, what? So if somebody comes down with cancer or something and all of a sudden they're like, no, I'm out of here. Like, sorry, I don't mean to laugh on that one. But like, what an asshole of a person if that's the case. That can't be it. There's underlying issues on that one, surely. But even so, Christ. That's the cruelest fucking blow out there. Religious differences, 13%. Really? 13%? But sure, you know your religion before you get married. And, I mean, what about Muslims, right? By the way, sorry guys, I'm not very experienced on Muslims, okay? So you'd have to forgive me. Is it Muslim? Is it Muslim that they don't believe in sex before marriage? They don't believe in sex before marriage. Is it Muslim? I'm sorry if I've got the wrong word here, okay? And I'm not trying to disrespect it at all. I just can't remember if I know the word. Somebody on TikTok, let me know, please, if I'm getting it all fucked up. But surely you know their religion beforehand. And why would you get married if it's in your religion? Religious differences? So, what? Does that tie into no sex before marriage? And all of a sudden, the husband or wife doesn't want to have sex even after they get married? I'm reaching here, actually. I'm fucking reaching. I don't even know. I'm trying to come up with an explanation, and I can't on this one. No. And then the last one, little or no premarital education. That comes in again at 13%. Huh. Really? You need an education on marriage? How do you get an education on marriage until you actually have a marriage? Like, no, I'm sorry, no. Maybe life experience. I'd understand that, where you do go off and you live life, you experience it, you realize, hey, it's okay being on my own here. Yeah, I don't know. The next part, basic incompatibility and money issues are among the top reasons for divorce. Couples divorce for many other reasons as well, other than a lack of commitment or infidelity. Here are the top 3 causes of divorce. Okay. Let's bite on this one, guys, shall we? 58% of couples report arguing and excess conflict. 45% of divorcing couples indicate they married too young. 38% report financial problems as a divorce cause. Well, if the wallet goes dry, does that mean it's all fucked for a lot of people? 38% looks like. So are a lot of people getting married for money these days? Jesus. I don't know. But guys, you know what? I think we're going to close it off here today. I think we've gone through quite a bit. But you know, and guys, anybody on TikTok, I'm going to stay on live after this. All right. So if any questions or you want to talk about anything, I'll be here just after the podcast when I wrap it. And in closing, guys, there's some of the divorce stats. We will talk about divorce more again on the show. I can't even believe it's taken me a year and 300 podcast episodes to actually start talking about divorce. Sometimes I can be a fucking moron. I don't even know. And I'm always trying to think of topics to talk about, something that's useful to people out there, hopefully that it can help people. And I don't know where I didn't get divorced. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't know. It took me a year to come around. I'm going to have to start literally shaking my head to find out, is there any other fucking loose change in here in my head that I can spit out that could be useful? Yeah, anyway. So guys, hope that helps to a degree if you are going through a divorce, that you're not the only one out there. There's a lot of people struggling with this. The percentages are high, there's no doubt about it. And what I'd say is, do you really want to be in a marriage? Is it everything? Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Peter
Walsh.